So I'm here at the Epson booth with Mark. He's the product manager for the Aqueous printer behind us. He's going to give us a little bit of details before we actually look at the machine itself. Like, tell us like what most people would want an Aqueous printer for, if maybe that's not their niche or their market. Like, what's something the Aqueous line would give them, or like make them consider an Aqueous printer?
Yeah, Aqueous photo printers are perfect for anything that's indoor graphics, indoor output. These printers aren't designed for the output to be taken outdoors. You can, but it's mostly an indoor application. That's why there's solvent and latex and resin. So this is a new SureColor P-Series printer. Our P-Series printers are known in the photo and proofing space, but we made a printer which was specifically designed for the production market. And we've changed a lot of things. First of all, is the design. It's super small, it's super compact. In fact, it's only 19.6 inches. And so everything's very angular. Everything is controlled by the front, in the front here. So the ink goes right here. We have this drawer that you open up. All the ink is in here. There's a storage space. Our maintenance tank is over here. It's a dual roll system. And it's the first SureColor P-Series printer with a dual roll system. And what does that mean? How does that benefit anyone? What it does is it's less touch points, because the reality is in a print shop, you probably have a couple of different media that you print to. Let's say it's a luster paper and it's a canvas that you wind up printing on. To be more productive, one way to be more productive is to have less touch points. And by having 2 rolls of media, you can print to one roll and then it will automatically switch to the other roll. So to give a demonstration, I'm here in our application called Epson Print Layout, and we were printing on canvas. Well, now I'm going to print to luster, Epson Luster Photo Paper 260, and that's in roll 1. So I choose roll 1. I'm going to print on a quality mode for production. It automatically chooses the appropriate ICC profile, and then I just hit print. The cool thing is what's going to happen in the printer. It's going to actually switch from the roll 2, and then it's going to unload the roll 2, and then it will load in the roll 1, all without touching the printer whatsoever. Very, very productive.
So how wide of media will it accept?
So accepts all the way up to 44 inches, but you can put in less. Like right now I have a roll of 22 rolls of 24. It'll actually take as minimum of a roll of a 10-inch wide roll. So 10-inch, there's 16-inch, there's 20-inch, there's 24, there's 36, there's 44. So here it's unloading, and then once that's done, now that's loading in. It's very productive. It's brand new. We've never had any technology like this before.
So will this printer print edge to edge?
Yes, this printer will print border free. We have border free maintenance tanks in here that collect the ink from the overspray. I can't get to them right now, but they're in there. Okay. And that's a big deal, because in our previous generation product, the overspray would go onto a sponge, and that sponge would get saturated with ink, and then you'd have to have someone come out and change out the sponge. But now it's basically a maintenance tank that you pull out when it's consumed, and then you put another maintenance tank in there. So yeah, it prints border free. And
then it's got I'm assuming an auto Z cutter.
It has an automatic cutter, exactly, and it's a consumable. So when the blade dulls, you change it out. It's got a light. If you want to see this is really great. It shows the progress of the print as it's printing, in case you did any kind of color adjustment or something like that you want to look at. And that was by popular demand from our end users. They were always using their cell phone to try to look to see how the print was coming out.
So in these, because they're front only, they can be back to back. You were saying an L configuration. Yeah. Does it come with that software?
Yes, this Epson Print Layout is free. It's a download that you go to epson.com/Epson Print Layout, and you download it. It connects with the printer, and it works with a lot of our SureColor P-Series printers.
Does it give you like pricing information, cost per square foot, or cost per square inch, or anything like that?
Yeah. So we have separate software for that.
Okay.
So we have what's called large format accounting tool, and it will basically analyze every single job that you run, and it will give you how much ink you consumed, how much media you consumed, and if you put in the variables of what you paid for that based on the reseller that you went to, then it will also tell you exactly how much the print costs. as well.
Can you get any sort of tray attachment for the front?
Right. So I should have done that as I was printing.
It has one.
It has a built-in catch basket. Yeah, so that print would have collected right in there and falls to the ground. Or you can tell the cutter to not cut and you manually cut it and pull it away. And we're also working on what's called a stacker. It's still in product development because the first iteration we didn't like, so we're going back to the drawing board and changing it. But the stacker will collect the prints as they come off of the printer, so that way you can print 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 copies of each
so print. I know Aqueous material, there's not necessarily a wide variety of material that Aqueous works with. What would be the most common that people...
it's growing though, right?
It is growing, but what would, like someone just getting into the industry, what would the typical product, like canvas, poster, what else would people typically print with this style of printer?
I like that question a lot. So one of the things that we've done is that with this new printer, it supports all of these Epson medias that are available. And we have everything from glossy photo paper, your standard stuff, luster, semi-gloss. But we also support fine art papers like velvet fine art, watercolor, ultra smooth fine art. You can see a wide variety. Our best, most beautiful fine art papers are also supported as well. And as product manager, I actually pushed for that because the typical thinking is, oh, it's a 6-color printer. People aren't going to want to print on really beautiful fine art papers. And I said, no, that's not true. I think that we should give users the most media available to print onto this printer. Because just because you're using 6 ink, that doesn't mean that you're sacrificing quality. What we do is that we utilize this gray ink to strategically mix in with CMY to give really smooth transitions and really smooth gradients. So if you want to take a look at that print up close, you can see.
Well, that's a really nice red too.
Yeah, the red is really nice. We're essentially doing more with less ink. That's the whole idea, is to do more with the less ink. There's less ink SKUs to purchase. We realize that there's a lot of general use photography out there that doesn't require orange, green, and violet that's suitable for a typical 6-color ink set. But because we're Epson, we're doing more with that ink set. It's actually the widest color gamut of any 6-color ink printer on the market. And we have that legally substantiated. Like, It's actually true. It's the widest 6-color printed out there.
And then last question, unless there's more that you think is pertinent, average cost per square foot to print. Like, I know it'll tell you in the software, but like for people doing their research, what's just kind of the average per square foot cost to print something?
No, that's actually a good question, and it is an important thing. And the standard answer is it also depends on the file and the material and all that. But when I look at the data closely, it seems like it's around, for everything, about $1 a square foot, to be honest. And that's with an average photo-based material, with an average file. That's a good number to utilize.
Are you including the material or just the ink cost? So just ink cost, what are you talking?
The ink cost, what it is, so when we look at and analyze files, we're looking at a huge range because it really depends on the file. I've ran files that utilize like 0.7 milliliters per square feet, and I've ran files that consume as much as 2 milliliters per square foot. So that's a huge percentage difference, and that's why that tool, that large format accounting tool, allows you to kind of analyze yourself on the images that you run or that your customers bring in, so then you can determine what that range is, right? Because there's all different types of files, for sure.
Right. But again, I'm gonna just an average number. What would that be?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the like, in terms of ink cost?
Yes, just ink, not material, just like an average job is going to cost me 30 cents a square foot, 50 cents a square foot. This is, again, just for general, like, I'm looking at the printer trying to understand.
It's definitely skewed where the media is more expensive than the ink. I'll say that, right? The media can be very expensive, but in terms of ink consumption, and this is a loosely based number, it's probably between like 13 cents and 25 cents, I would say, per square foot. Yeah, actually, based on real data and average images. And So
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
So 18 to 25 cents, that's really reasonable.
yeah.
Anything else that people should know about this printer other than what we've already talked about?
Yeah, I talked about the ink. I talked about its size, its design. You know, for a print shop, this is also something that might be really interesting, is that it includes the Adobe embedded print engine. And this is kind of a big deal because what we realize is that a lot of print shop owners print a lot of PDFs. People bring in a print quality PDF, and that print quality PDF can sometimes render in different ways if you don't have a PDF engine, right? A PostScript engine. It's basically an embedded RIP, and it's very powerful. It's the latest from Adobe. It has 4 processors, 1.6 gigahertz Intel Atom processors. It's got 4 gigs of onboard RAM. It's pretty amazing. So it processes PDF files seamlessly. People think of SureColor P series as photo only, but it's very well suited for the graphic art and PostScript and PDF workflow as well, especially with the new product.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
That Aqueous printer is super cool, but I don't think it's as cool as our sponsor, Firesprint.com. So quick shout out to them for sponsoring this episode. If you don't want to purchase equipment and want to have just some do it all for you, Firesprint.com is a trade-only wholesale printer made for printers just like you and me. They've been around for many years and they're happy to help. So if you need signs, banners, stickers, or anything else large format, make sure you reach out to them. You can save 10% off your first order using the coupon code down in the description. Wrap it up. Pass, Darren. So if you're looking at a way to do posters or other like indoor signage, make sure you check out this Epson P series Aqueous printer. I will link everything that I can down in the description. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Thank you, Cam, for editing, and we'll see you in the next one. Print Fam.